guys, welcome to day number 9. Can you believe it? Day number 9. And the topic today is embracing excellence. Did that freak you out just a little bit? It's okay. Raise your hand. I mean, it can be a little scary, but I'm so glad that you keep coming back day after day after day after day, devoting this 21 days of focused prayer time to your business. As always, we are going to start with just a tad bit of housekeeping. You know the drill. What am I going to say? Today we're going to be talking about this book here. I'm going to be telling you some questions that I go through. I'm going to be reading a good bit today actually out of this book. But you do not have to have this book to participate. So these videos will forever live on YouTube and in the Facebook group. And you are welcome to watch those over and over and over, and you do not need the book for that. This is a process that we've all been walking together for the last 9 days. And I want you to make sure that if you're just catching this video somehow, some way, and you've not watched day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8, that you make time to do so. If you want to cut this off and start from the very beginning, that is awesome. But the point is they really do build upon each other. And I just want to make sure that you're getting every bit of it and letting it sink in. There's a lot of verses and a lot of things that we've covered in the previous videos that's so good just to memorize and meditate on and walk through this process, this journey. So again, if you've just found this video, make sure you go back and watch all of the other days. If you do want the book, you can get the book at shop.spelloutinfuse.com. So shop.uinfuse.com. And that book is there as well as the little scripture card here. Let me show it to you. That we make reference to. So those are the two things, the book and that. But again, you do not have to have them to participate. So don't let that be an excuse if it's not in your budget, okay? Enjoy the videos. Well, day number 9. Let's review really quick what we have discussed. Let's see if we can remember what the days are. Day number 1, we started giving God control. Here you go. I can't do it on my own. We acknowledge that we need you and we want you a part of our life and a part of our business. Day number 2, finding freedom. Lord, we are not going to let our past dictate our future. We are not going to get caught up in all of the things in the past, mistakes and failures and hurts and rejection and abandonment that hurt us. That was hard things to walk through, but we are not going to let it dictate where we're going. It may have hurt us here, but it's not going to continue to hurt us for the rest of our life. Okay? Day number 3, you are uniquely made. You are. You. I'm not talking about your neighbor or your best friend or anybody else. I'm talking about you. You are uniquely made. There is something about you that the world needs. There's something that you have to offer the world. Day number 4, we talked about vision. Catching a vision, a God vision. And vision is also maybe not even knowing what is down the road, but letting the Lord, I'm holding my hand like this because it's like a lantern. If you go back and watch day number 4, we talked about holding a light up. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. And allowing the Lord to kind of guide your step even though you might not see the end picture, you don't know what it looks like, you're going to take that one step at a time. So then after we did that, number 5, day 5, we talked about being intentional. And that is just embracing your values. What are your passions? What are the things that you love? What are your non-negotiables? And those need to make it into your life and into your business, because that's when you begin to feel off balance, is whenever those things that are of utmost importance to you are not making it into your life or your business. You don't have to do it all, but you need to make sure, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Day number 6, we talked about always growing, okay? We don't just arrive. We don't just hit a rank in a business or get a promotion graduate from high school, get a degree, and then you know, hey, we're here. No, we need to always be growing. And day number 7 in peaking is don't give up. Hey, now that you're on the right track, you're moving in the right direction, things are going great. You may have a moment where you feel like throwing in the towel. And if you throw in that towel, you have no clue what was right around the corner. Don't do that. Don't do that. That day, day number 7, you guys, I want you to watch it over and over. It needs to be something that you need to get in your head, get in your heart, and do the homework on that day. The homework was really good on that day. Yesterday was day number 8, and we talked all about living a life of worship. It is so good whenever we embrace our unique design, whenever we be who we were designed and made to be, whenever we use our gifts and our talents to the benefit of others. I really believe that is living a life of worship. We can live a life of worship with our time, with our money, with our resources, which then leads us to today's topic, and that is embracing excellence. Now, I need you to hear me out. There is a big difference between today's topic and tomorrow is perfectionism weighs you down. So today we're talking about embracing excellence, but we don't need to get it confused with what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, which is perfectionism. I say on page 64, if you have the book, under excellence or perfectionism, midway through that paragraph, I say, there is a difference between embracing excellence and being a slave to perfectionism. Listen to this. Excellence, it is obtainable. Excellence is obtainable. Being perfect will never happen, okay? Don't set yourself up for failure. Being perfect will never happen. Ever. You can't read enough books. You can't attend enough seminars. You will never be perfect. Excellence will uplift you. Perfectionism will make you feel defeated. If you are constantly thinking in that realm, you are always going to be feeling defeated, okay? So excellence will uplift you and perfectionism will make you feel defeated. And we're going to talk about it again more tomorrow because these two topics are so important in not just building a successful business and being content in life, but I mean, you just gotta have it's all around. If you can't embrace this concept, it's going to be constantly making you feel weighed down, which what we're talking about tomorrow. You were not made to be perfect, but you were made to live a life of excellence. Remember, my tripod is messed up, so every once in a while we're going to start fading down. I'm gonna have to put it back up, so my one scroll moment. I want you to then go and read on to the next paragraph down. This is key, okay? So if you've got a notebook, if you do not have this book, I need you to grab a pen and I need you to grab a notebook and I want you to write this down, okay? If you've got your book, I want you to underline this. Are you a book writer? I'm a book writer. Look, I write all up in my book, okay? I want you to underline this like a lot, like almost tear through the page. You're underlining it so much. When you embrace excellence in your life and business, you are embracing your unique design with the tools and resources you currently have on hand. I'm going to read it one more time. When you embrace excellence in your life and business, you are embracing your unique design with the tools and resources you currently have on hand. Now, we're going to discuss this throughout our time together today. But before we go there, I want to ask you, I want us to go there. So how do you embrace excellence in your business and life? I don't think you're going to argue the point with me. I don't think I need to sit here for an hour and tell you, you need to embrace excellence. Hey, you need excellence in your life and business. You're going to be like, well, no duh, Monique. I mean, hello, that's a no-brainer. Thank you, Captain Obvious. I need to embrace excellence. You get it. You need to do it. So remember, we talked about in the day of being intentional. Why do we know things, but we don't do it? So how do you embrace excellence? Monique, this is great. I want to. How do I do it? Well, I'm so glad you asked. The very first way that I believe that you embrace excellence into your life and into your business is understanding that you cannot do it all. You cannot say yes to every single thing that presents itself to you. Now, this is the worst form of torture for a lot of personalities out there. Those personalities, especially the personalities who are the very bubbly, very outgoing. They even some of the personalities that are those very loyal, very just they want to help everybody. Are people pleasers? Do we have any people pleasers out there? Those type of personalities, they have a hard time saying no. I think in general, a lot of us have a hard time saying no to things. We want to help everybody. We want to do everything. But to live a life of excellence, we really are going to have to say no to some things. And you know what? We are going to have to say no possibly to some things that are actually good. Some things that could even be beneficial. We may have to say no to those things to embrace a few things with excellence. You know, the form of company that I work with is in sales. It's in the area of sales. And, you know, time and time again, I watch people that are in my company, in this line of business, and just not even with my company, but with other companies. They try doing 10 million things, okay? So I love sales. So if I can work with this company, and this company, surely this is going to be awesome, because if I'm selling from 3 different companies, I mean, that's 3 different revenue streams coming in. But no, you need to pick one and you need to do it with excellence. I mean, you know, and I even tell people within my own company, if that's not this one and it's the other one, then you probably need to drop this company. I would love to tell you to keep on going with the company. I don't want to lose you. I don't want you to go away. I love our products. I love what we do. But unfortunately, if you are completely divided and you are taking your focus and you're splitting it, you can't do one of the two, or both of them are not being done with excellence. Drop the one, you're going to be doing this one with excellence. Put everything into it. Both may be good, but you've got to do one with excellence, okay? So sometimes it's saying no to something good. Back in the day where I told you about not giving up, don't give up. And I said, you know, I was at that point to where I felt like I had this God vision for this business that I'm in, and I knew I was moving in the right direction. However, I had this rough moment where I had to make a decision. Do I go back and get a job working in a hospital or a doctor's office? And I knew me. I know how I'm wired. I know how I am, and I focus on one thing. And if I had that divided interest, if I had to go in and clock out, and I had all of this, I knew I couldn't execute this vision that I had with this new business journey. I knew that I could not embrace it with excellence if I did the both. So I knew that I was mourning, why I cried and boohoo cried, and why those emotions are so raw is because I understood if I went this other direction, that this other one would not happen the way that it has panned out, because I know that I can't have this divided interest. I would be saying no to one thing and yes to another. Now, a lot of times people will send me messages and say, well, Monique, you know, I'm at a crossroads. Should I quit my job? Well, listen, that's a major, or I'm working 9 to 5 and trying to do this. Should I quit my 9 to 5 and pour all in here? You know what? That is between you and if you're married, your spouse, that is between you and God. That is a major decision. That's a life decision that has to be made. For me, I made the decision with prayer and with going with my gut. And I never want to be on this end to give you kind of career advice, and that's like, go quit your 9 to 5. I mean, please, to pursue this passion or whatever. But I'm telling you, for me in my life, I knew that I could only focus in on one thing. All right. So I don't want a million people going and quitting their job, and spouses calling me and going, hello, you've ruined our life. That is not the point of today. But you have to be okay saying no. And it is very hard. I am the world's worst at saying yes, 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 yes. And I'm having to learn how to say no. And it takes time. And it's not going to probably be conquered in one day, okay? But over and over, day in and day out, just practice saying no to some good things. The next thing we talked about this on the day about being intentional is, what are your time wasters? Do you remember us discussing that when we wrote out our values? When we wrote out those things that were so important to us, our non-negotiables, and we kind of talked about how we did, how we lived out every minute of our day, our week, our month, our year, what it looks like. Well, at the end of the day, we need to revisit that chapter and we need to look at our time wasters and what are those time wasters and how do we need to eliminate those? Because when you are spending all of your time on these time wasters, time suckers, you are not embracing this excellent life that you could be going down, or this excellent path. Okay, again, not perfectionism, but living a life with excellence. What did I say? What did you write down? Let's read it again. When you embrace excellence in your life and business, you are embracing your unique design with the tools and resources you currently have on hand. Okay, so time is huge. Let's not get sucked into the time wasters. Another way that you can embrace excellence in your life and in your business is, again, revisiting day number 5 of being intentional with those values. What are your non-negotiables? What are those things that are of utmost importance to you? And when you can make sure that those are getting into your day, you are embracing excellence, because those are the things that are so important to you. If you try doing everything everybody else is doing that's their values, that is not you embracing excellence in your business, because that's not who you are. When you try being somebody else, you're not being who you were made to be. Embracing your gifts and your talents into your life and into your business is embracing excellence, because you're embracing that unique design. You are embracing your strengths, your love, your passion. That's embracing excellence into your business. And again, what I just said, I thought it was so important. I wrote it again down on page 65, midway through. Again, when you embrace excellence, I know it's repetitive, in your life and business, you are embracing your unique design with the tools and the resources you currently have on hand. So let's hit on that point. With the tools and resources you currently have on hand. So what does that mean? What does that look like? Well, back in October of 2014, I took a group of about 12 of my team members who were in my company, in my little organization. I took them on a business / fun trip to Disney World. You remember me telling you about, again, on day number 5, we talked about values and how Jared and I attended a class at Disney Institute in Orlando, Florida, and it was a huge game changer for us. Really opened our eyes to a lot of ways of embracing excellence in our business. And I wanted to bring some of my team members down there. Well, we did. In October of 2014, we brought them down there and we had fun and we taught them some things. We actually rented a bus and we drove down, because we took that time on the bus to do some strategic team building, talking about what our values were, and then talking about some of the things that we were going to learn once we got there, and then on the way back, some of the things that we took away from our time there in Orlando. And so that was something fun that we did. It was embracing excellence at that time. It was something that I could do at that time with the resources I currently had on hand, okay? Could I do that back in October of 2013 after my business just got started? Well, no, because my paycheck did not equate to what it did in October of 2014. When I first began my business, I hear people all of the time saying, I feel like I'm investing too much. I work in the realm of network marketing. And so it is, a lot of people are trying to buy resources. They're trying to buy material. They're trying to do, I don't know what your business is. And if it's in a line of work where you feel like you've got to invest a lot of money to be successful. Well, you know what? When I very first began my journey, I did not have the money to invest. We were living paycheck to paycheck. Remember in February, our car broke down back in day 7, the Don't Give Up. Our car broke down. We had no money. I felt like throwing in the towel because we had no money. So I couldn't give away free samples. I couldn't do things. I was allowing people to order things from me and to help me get to a certain thing to where I could get some little freebies and things of that nature. But I would have to make people pay me ahead of time before I could even order the product to give to them, because I did not financially have the means to make it work. If somebody wanted a sample, I would have to make them pay for a sample. I couldn't go invest in tons of flashy brochures or flyers or anything like that, because my resources that I currently had on hand just did not allow it, okay? So in October of 2014, I was not embracing excellence and any differently than I was embracing excellence in 2013, because it was what I currently had on hand. Don't get caught up, and we'll go there tomorrow, in what other people are doing. You have got to be you, where you are at, where you are today. If not, you're going to feel way down. Don't want to jump ahead of myself, but that's what we talk about tomorrow. So for me, if I couldn't invest, that's great, Monique. If you couldn't invest money, what did you invest to get your business going? Well, I had time. I may not have had the money, but I had time. And I chose at that point, and I understood if I was not going to be working, going back and getting a job as a nurse, I knew I might not have the money, but I could invest my time. And guys, I'm not going to tell you that everybody needs to do this. I can't even tell you that it is completely healthy. But I worked from sun up to sundown. No joke. I did everything I could do. I poured everything into getting this business going and getting it up off the ground. And I really did work from sun up to sundown. I like to think of it as a sprint. When you think about runners, unfortunately, I am not a runner, but the analogy is very good, even though I'm not a runner, is that you've got people who are sprinters who run really fast, short distances, or you have got people who run marathons, which they do not run that marathon in a sprinter's pace. They run a little bit slower and steady, but they finally get to an end destination just like the sprinter does. But it is a marathon pace and not a sprinting pace. Eric Hudson, who works with us and helps manage our business and finances, tells me this all the time because I'm naturally wired with my personality. That's that D personality, very driven. I have a goal. I want to crush it. I can sometimes just run at a marathon pace as fast as I can. A sprinter's pace as fast as I can. And he always says, Monique, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Now, there may be seasons in your life that you do run at a sprinter's pace, and that is fine. But you just need to know you can't keep that up forever without being physically exhausted and crashing at some point, okay? You can't maintain that and keep it up forever. But I knew at that beginning stages, I didn't have the money, but I was looking at my time as an investment, okay? And as my paycheck started to increase, I think it went from like $54 maybe to $500, and my paycheck starts increasing. People would say, well, that's great, Monique. What were you making as a nurse? And you were working like half the time. That's good and all, but don't you think when you look how many hours you're working versus how much money you're making, you hourly, it's still not that good. But I was like, no. Right now, I'm seeing my time. This is how I can embrace excellence. And right now, this is what I'm doing. And again, time may look different. I write down at the end, I highlighted that I wanted to tell you this. So write this down on the page 65 there at the bottom. It says, we will never be perfect, but let's try to make the most of what we've been given. So while we'll never be perfect, never will we be perfect, let's try really hard to make the most with what we currently have on hand. And I think that is when we begin to live a life of excellence. Okay? Now, you need to hear me out. Just like money may look different from time to time, because it's easy to say, okay, the money was not there in October of 2013. I understand that. So you could not do that. So you can give yourself a little grace and mercy and go, well, it just wasn't there. No biggie, Monique. I understand you were flat broke. You couldn't do it. So you give yourself a little bit of grace and understanding in that realm. But whenever you look at the aspect of time, you think, well, there's always 24 hours in a day, right? So, that really shouldn't look different. Shouldn't everybody be investing the same amount? I look at a lot of people in the line of work that I'm in, and they get aggravated and go, well, so-and-so's just not, they've just kind of fallen off the face of the planet, or this person's doing this, or this person's doing that. Well, listen to me. Time, even though there's still 24 hours in my day in October of 2013, and there was still 24 hours in my day in October of 2014, time never changes. But actually, it may. Let me give you an example. If you are, let's say, a single lady, okay? And you have got a lot, so this year you've got a lot of time on your hands. And you are really digging in and plowing in and working your business, working your career, and you're investing all of this time into it. Well, you meet this amazing person the next year, and you start to settle down, and the next year you are welcoming your first bundle of joy into the world, okay? Now, this year over here looks completely different. Even though there's still 24 hours in a day, your time looks a little different. It does. How about if you have got this sick family member that comes down and is very ill, and they need somebody to provide care for them? I've had that happen in my own organization that I work with. Someone's mom falls ill, and she's having to be at her bedside taking care of her mom or her father or her child or something of that nature. Time looks different. Where you should be giving your time actually with excellence is just going to look different. So while there may be 24 hours in a day, how you use it to embrace excellence could look different. So you need to give yourself a little bit of grace and mercy. And again, we're going to go there tomorrow on perfectionism. But your resources, again, let's read that quote that I wrote out. When you embrace excellence in your life and business, you are embracing your unique design, which you can do. You guys have figured that out. That's easy to do. Know your gifts and talents and embrace it with the tools and the resources you currently have on hand. So your money may look different from year to year, from month to month, I don't know, and your time may look different as well. The next way that I said you can embrace excellence in your business is to focus in on your strengths. We talked about that on the day of being intentional as well. That day really mirrors this day as well, because they go hand in hand. When you are intentional, you are embracing excellence. But so many times we look at our weaknesses and we look at our shortcomings and we look at those things that we need to fix, and we get on that like a hamster wheel, and we're like working, running, but not getting anywhere, because we're spending all of this time on something that is just not how we are wired and how we are built. We're like walking against the stream and not getting anywhere. You remember the day that the tractor was outside and I got distracted and I pulled the blinds down and was like, oh my goodness. Well, they cut out this little trench from the ocean. If you don't know and you're just watching this from day one, I'm sitting here with the most amazing, beautiful beach view. And there was this tractor that came out and cut out a little trench. And that trench became getting bigger and bigger between this lake that is out beside the house and the ocean. And the water just started just like pouring into the ocean. And it was a pretty steady stream. Well, later on throughout the day, I was sitting here working and I was watching, and there was this gentleman that was trying to get across. He had went and walked down the beach and he was trying to get back on the other side. He couldn't, but he was trying to walk to the other side. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, like, one, do we need to call for help, because this could be pretty dangerous? But that poor man was walking. He was getting nowhere. From this bird's eye view that I have of where he was not getting anywhere. He was moving. His feet were moving. He was breaking a sweat. He was working hard. He was getting nowhere. Okay? That is the same visual example of whenever you look at your weaknesses, these things, and you're trying so hard, oh my gosh, and you're not getting anywhere. Well, you know what? I'm not saying never try improving. We all have room for growing and improving, but find your strengths. Find those things that you're so good at and really work at that. And it's the opposite. Whenever just like that is walking upstream, whenever you start embracing your gifts and your talents and you start growing in your strengths rather than growing in your weaknesses, still grow. Hear me out. I'm not saying don't improve, but now it's like that current takes you and it's almost this effortless pull when you are embracing those strengths, your natural abilities, you're enhancing those. That is embracing excellence, because you're enhancing your unique design. You were made that way for a reason. So now when you're growing in that is, you are going to be so much more successful in life, in business, when you continue to tweak those things that you are good at and invest time in that. So weaknesses, let's go there. Now I think it is very important as you grow to figure out ways to staff those weaknesses. What are the things that you're not good at? Maybe you're not financially able to really staff, as in pay it out. But how can you team up with somebody? We're going to talk later in our time about creative problem solving, which is so important. But this is a way that you can be creative in what are the things that I'm not so gifted at? What are the things that I don't enjoy? What are the things that are hard for me? What are the things that just don't come naturally? And how can I team up with somebody and say, listen, let's work together. You work on this, I work on this, and together we'll make a dynamic team, okay? My husband, oh my word, from day one has helped me so much in the business that I'm in. We are complete opposites in a lot of ways. I'm a dreamer and I'm like, let's go do all of this. And he's like, okay, well, you've got to take steps to do it, Monique. That's great that you want to do it. A lot of times things would never happen and take place, the dreams and the ideas that I have, if my husband wasn't there saying, Monique, you need to make steps. You need to create a process. This is great that you want to do it. I was telling him last night some dreams and direction that I was really thinking that we should go for the rest of this year. And he said, that's great, Monique. That's fantastic. But realistically, can you do what you're talking about today and embrace excellence? Because you've got a lot on your plate. Something is not going to be done with excellence. So he's preaching this to me. He's saying, listen, Monique, you need to listen to what you're talking about, because there's steps, there's processes. So he's this step and process person. He realizes, okay, I say, let's go do all this. He realizes he's going to have to be doing the majority of the legwork of that stuff. And so find somebody, whether it's a spouse, a friend, and team up. Now, as I have changed, as our journey has changed, as our resources, our money, our financial resources have changed over the course of these 4 years, now I can actually do things with excellence in the realm of paying other people to work on some of these areas that are my weaknesses. And again, please understand, it is with what you currently have on hand. So you can't look at me and say, well, Monique's living in excellence and I'm not living in excellence. No, what do you currently have on hand? So now for us, it got to a point where we said, financially, we are way in over what we can do. For investing and managing. This is getting out of control. We hired a financial advisor, a person who manages all of our money, who knows the ins and outs and the taxes and all of these things that we weren't necessarily gifted in knowledge. But this person loves it. This person eats, sleeps, Eric Hudson eats, sleeps, breathes it. Like it's all he thinks about. He loves it. So what better person to bring alongside of us to live with excellence, to embrace excellence in our business, to allow him to handle that area which we're weak in. We love to do the business, market the business, teach, inspire, things of that nature, sales and all of that. But once we've got the money, we need somebody to help us embrace excellence with what we have been given, okay? So that's something that we finally got at that stage. Our journey will continue to look different as our resources and things we currently have on hand change throughout this journey. And so those are ways that you can embrace excellence in your business. Okay, now before we end, one more thing to embrace excellence in your business. I say it on page 67, is to be a student of excellence. What do I mean by that? You need to be a student of excellence. This goes back to the always growing day that we talked about on day 6, always growing. You need, and I believe I mentioned it there, find a mentor, find somebody that you look up to, find somebody whose values are very similar to yours. And even if they can't mentor you one-on-one in person, then find ways that you can evaluate what they do, how they run their businesses, read books, things of that nature. I consider Pastor Chris Hodges a mentor of mine. I consider John Maxwell a mentor. While I have had very brief encounters one-on-one with both of those two gentlemen, I still feel like they have spoke into my life in massive ways. Massive ways they've spoke into my life because I am a student of what they do. I believe John Maxwell is one of the best authors out there. Well, I have a passion for writing. I have a passion for teaching through writing. Well, who do I think is one of the best out there? John Maxwell. So I study how does he do things? How does he write? I had the amazing opportunity last year, to speak with him at a little conference, and I was able to meet him in person and just spend a little bit of time with him. And can I tell you, I studied every single thing he did whenever he encountered and met with us. It was about 4 or 5 of us. And I watched him when he walked into the room. He walked around, introduced himself, talked to each person, gave us a little bit of individual time. And I thought that was so amazing. I sat down and did a little video with him. And I knew his time was precious. And when we did these videos, they had drilled in our head, this has got to be a one-take wonder. Like, his time is very valuable. When he comes in, you do the video. We really need to do it in one take. Okay? No pressure, right? First off, you're sitting next to somebody who's been an amazing influence in your life, you know, and I'm like, freak out moment for that. Now, no big deal, but now you got to do a video with him next to you. Really, no big deal. And I'm, you know, panicking, and the video starts, and whatever the first words, it was like an out-of-body experience, and the first words that come out of my mouth, I totally lost all train of thought, and I was just like, I'm sorry, can we start over? And do you know what he does? Instead of like making me feel dumb, he understood. He understood that I was nervous. He really did understand that, oh, this poor girl needs some help. He just made a joke and was like, no big deal, was like kind of cutting up with me and made me laugh to make me feel very relaxed. Now, that may not mean much to you, but for me, I studied that. When I left that, I was taking notes of everything he did, how he made me feel as we spoke at that event. After I came off stage, I walked into the green room, and there he was, and I kind of freaked out, and I kind of froze, and I was like, oh, sorry. I was thinking I was interrupting him, and I was like, I have no clue why I walked in here. I apologize. And he was like, no, it's okay. Come sit down. And I sit down next to him, and he says, I just want you to know, there was a video screen back there, and he was watching. He said, you did a really good job. And he said, you were, and again, not patting myself on the back, but I want to tell you what I evaluated. He said, you did a really good job, and you were very natural up there. That was very good. You were a good storyteller. He was speaking life into me. He was adding value. He knew that I looked up to him. And in that moment, he was taking that time that we had, and he was speaking into my life. And all of these things, I was like, Monique, you've got to be more intentional with that. Monique, you've got to do these things. Be a student. Study people that you look up to. Study things that they do. Watch them. Even if you're not able to have one-on-one time with them, I still had learned tons from him without even having that one-on-one time. Our pastor, Chris Hodges, I can tell you, when I started our business journey, we replicated almost everything that our church did in growing its church. I took that information and I tried embracing it into our business of how can we take that, what they did. I can't tell you how many times I would say, what would Pastor Chris do in this situation? How would he handle this? Jeremiah was on staff at the church for 5 years, I believe. I think it was. And I would say, what would Pastor Chris do? How would he handle this situation? What were the steps and strategies you guys put in place to implement this in the church? And I totally brought that into, I knew it worked. I understood the things that they did. Understood while Pastor Chris is an excellent at embracing faith, obviously, into this church and prayer and everything being a strong foundation, but he's also an excellent businessman. And he's great about treating the church also and running it with excellence. And so when we recently moved back to Alabama, after that message, do you remember me telling you back on the day that was saying, why do we know things, but we're not embracing it? He talked about stress, and I'm thinking, gosh, I know all of these things, but I'm not doing it. Like, you know, and so I told Jeremiah, I said, I want you to call and ask if we can have a meeting. His sister is his admin assistant. And I said, could you, because Jeremiah knows the people because he worked there. I said, could you call and just ask if we could just have 30 minutes of her time? I really want to talk strategically with her about how Pastor Chris manages his time. How is he intentional with things? How does he do things? Because I feel like our business has got to this level where it's really more than I ever imagined. And I feel stressed out trying to do it all. So I want to know what steps, what was it like? Because he started a church from the ground up that grew like crazy. So he's walked through what I'm walking through. How did he make it through it? What does he do? So Jeremiah set up a meeting. We were a student of studying excellence. I believe you guys do things with excellence. So let me sit down. And she was so gracious and gave of her time and her knowledge and told us the things that they did. And you know, it was just little tidbits of things that I was like, this is huge. That is, wow. When he does international travel, he always gets there a day before. He never gets there the day of and speaks. He makes sure that he gets there and he has to be there 24 hours before he speaks. That may not mean a lot to you, but that's huge. That may seem like it's such a nitty-gritty little thing, but that is huge. Traveling, getting somewhere, you're feeling exhausted, jet lag. Oh my goodness. And then you get up to speak and it's crazy and you're so tired. No, I understand it. I get it because since then we have walked through that. I understand now what it's like to fly somewhere, get there, be worn out and feel like you can't be excellent at what you're doing and you can't give your all because you're so exhausted. So that's little things, just giving you examples of ways that you can study, be a student of excellence. All right, guys, before we close in prayer, I kind of was all over the place with this time. So if you don't have the book, I want to tell you some of the things that I listed for homework today, okay? The very first thing I discussed was on page 65, if you have your book. I said, what things do you want to make sure you embrace with excellence in your life and business? So that's something that you can write about. Grab a notebook. These are your values. This is kind of like what we talked about on day 6. So just make sure you write that down again. Then the next thing I said is, can you think of seasons in your life where your resource of time varied from one to the next? Share those below. So I want you to think about the times that your time kind of varied and altered, and how did that look like? And how did you embrace excellence with that? The next thing I say is, what skills do you feel like aren't the wisest use of your time? List them out below. Because if you're spinning your wheels and you're not getting anywhere, really that is a time sucker. That's a time waster. Be a student of excellence. So then I say, can you think of a few individuals or companies from which you could learn? Do they embrace the same values? What stands out about them? Share your thoughts below. And then the walkout points for today, before we close in prayer, is commit to growing in the areas of your gifts and your talents. So know how you're uniquely made. Focus on growing stronger in the things that you're naturally gifted at. What are you passionate about? What lights a fire inside of you? Incorporate that into your business and spend time adding fuel to that fire. Find a mentor who aligns with your values and allow them to speak into your life. This may be someone you meet with in person or someone who inspires you from afar. And finally, I want you to meditate on this verse today. It's John 15:5. And here's what the verse says. It says, I am the vine and you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. One more time, let's read it again. I'm the vine and you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. You guys, embracing faith in your business is embracing excellence in your business. Because if he is the vine and you are the branches and you are remaining in him, and those branches start to come off, and the fruit that is produced, the things that are produced from your life, they have got to be excellent. He is the only excellent individual. He is the only perfect Let's say that perfect. He is the only perfect individual. And if he is the only perfect individual, you're not perfect. So if he's the vine and you are the branches, and as you remain in him, this person who is perfect, and your branches go out and they begin to produce fruit, I believe that fruit is excellent. Okay? So keep doing what you're doing. Remain in him. Keep going to him. Keep letting him guide your steps. And that is embracing excellence in your life and business. Let's pray. All right? Lord, I love you again so very much. I thank you for everybody who is wanting to walk out this journey with you. Lord, they're giving you control. They're wanting to live this life of excellence. And we know that we can do that through you. We want you to be the vine, Lord. We want to be the vine, and we want you to be the vine, and we want to be those branches that come off. And Lord, I pray that as the fruit is produced, Lord, that we then in return thank you, because we know that it's coming from you. Lord, I pray for all of my friends who are watching this, that you would show them ways that they can embrace excellence in everything they do. Remind them of their gifts, remind them of their talents, remind them of their values. Show them ways that they can embrace that into their business. Lord, give them divine revelation each and every day of how they can walk these topics and these things out in their life. Lord, I love you so very much. You're so amazing and so good to us. Be with my friends as they go about their day today, Lord. Watch over them, protect them. Speak to them, Lord, wherever they're at. In your name, amen. All right, guys. Well, I love you so much. And one final thing before we part ways is, I love getting messages from you guys. And it really does. I laugh, I smile, I cry as I'm reading them. And again, I'm so sorry that I can't respond back to every one of them. We're trying to work through systems where we can reach back out to you guys. But I just need you to know, thank you for the messages. I love hearing your stories. I love hearing your stories. And I read one recently that was just talking about how in this journey she loves how we are embracing prayer just about everyday things of our life. And really, that is what this is all about. Prayer, you guys, if you haven't been one who's prayed your whole life, it is just like talking like your best friend. It is going to him and just, telling him, this is what I'm going through. These are the things, and just talking very naturally to him. So again, I just thank you for investing in yourself and allowing God to be the center of this. Come back for tomorrow. Tomorrow we are talking about perfectionism, which is the opposite of not feeling free. It is whenever you are embracing perfectionism, you are not embracing excellence. And we're going to go there tomorrow, okay? Because it can weigh you down. All right. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. And I will see you back here tomorrow. Love ya. Bye.